Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, today I want to talk about a tarp set. Now, as many of you know, I've mentioned in many of my videos that I did live in history for a long time. And I've got a original tarp that is what we call a diamond. And all it is a square canvas tarp that I purchased in the mid 80s, somewhere 86, 87. It was my first really good rendezvous tent. And I know I got it before, at least 2 or 3 years before me and my wife got together, and we got together in 89. So it's that old. And I have used it extensively for camping. To me, the tarp that's got tie-outs all the way around is the ultimate super light, quick, fast camp, period. Now, in living history, we were kind of limited by what was historically accurate. So you couldn't have modern amenities on it. But mine had just these canvas ties on it to tie it. Think like cords about that long. Ooh, that neat. And so I had to have the ability to, tie to different things. And I would set it up in all kinds of configurations due to whatever the weather was. Now, this is a ground shelter. It means I'm going to be sleeping on the ground or on a cot or a leaf bed, a tick bed, something like that. Well, I wanted to kind of slightly retire it and get something slightly smaller, because my original is a 10 by 10. And I will insert a picture of that 10 by 10 setup where it's got a U.S. Army cot on one side and there's a chair and everything on the other side, and all my camp is in it. And here's that picture now. So, with that set up, I camped alone a lot in all kinds of weather, heavy rains, whatever. Just by steering the tarp to the right place, I was good to go. Well, as y'all noticed, whenever I did the bank line video, I got a new tarp. I got it from Bombproof, and it's got ties all over it. Got loops already sewed in it all over it. Let me show you a couple of configurations of this, because to me, this is a good winter tarp. If I'm going to be ground pounding, it's a great big, set it up, big awning. 2, it's a tent unto itself, and I can use it for so many different configurations. Let me show you some of them. Okay, here's the tarp. Now, this is an 8x8 tarp, and it's got sewed in loops. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means 4 corners, 2 halfway, and 2 and 1 in the middle, all the way around. And then I'm going to show you in a minute the back with other ties. This has simply been set up in a simple, quick lean-to configuration where I have a ridge line, 2 stakes, and then I'm pulling the center out to a tree. I can put it in several different ways. But as you see, this is big. Big. I can easily get under here and be well insulated from weather. I can easily adjust. So if I get rain starting to want to come under this edge, I can scoot this way. I got enough real estate to work with. This is one of the easiest setups. Now let me walk around back and I'll show you the ties, and then we're going to show you how we're going to utilize those ties. Okay, we have a square patch reinforcement and multiple sewed across right here to make a very strong pull out right here. And as you see, I've just run it up to a limb with a piece of bank line. There are additional tie outs at the 4 on this side, and then all the way around is the other ties. So this lets me set it up in many configurations. This is the simplest, quickest. Now if I didn't want to use this, I could put a pole in there to push it up. You've seen that in many videos. A trick I've done before, where we're going to be here a couple days, is I've got my pole, sharpened one end of it, I put it up in there in place, marked the ground, then I've kind of unhooked one corner of the tarp, put it solid in the ground, and put the tarp back and kind of wedged it a little, and then put ties to hang bags and stuff on it. So it's not just a pole, it's a support. I can put my gear on it, I can get stuff off the ground. So that center pole can be used like that. With these different tie configurations, I can set this up in many different ways. Now let me shift it from this, and let me show you a different shape for a tent. Okay guys, this is inside the enclosed tent configuration. Now you see you got to point that way and you got to point that way. There's enough room for me here. Okay guys, now I'm inside of the enclosed tent. It's just a simple configuration of it. Now you see I got plenty of feet room. I got plenty of room this way. I got plenty of room out here at the gear. Now this is a lousy choice to set it up like this because this ground is swelling up right here in elevation, and so I'm kind of at an odd angle. But when I lay this out flat, I'll have enough room to stretch out full length this way and have a completely enclosed tent at the front. Now let me step to the outside and I will show you what it looks like from the outside. Okay. You see, I can actually get up on my feet and walk out. Now you take the doors and you close the doors. See? Now this is set up. The center tie, the center pull out, and the back is now lean. We're going to reverse direction in a minute. I'm going to let you see the back. We don't go to the front corner. We go one end on both sides, and that makes these two doors that actually overlap. If the rain is coming from this way, you put that door over the top. If it's coming from this way, you reverse the doors and put it over the top. That way it seals up and you don't have to worry about it so much. For going in and out, I can simply flip them open. Now that's more than big enough for one person and gear, and I can actually walk in here at a squat. So I can hunch over and walk in and out of my tent. Pretty easy, huh? Now let me swing it out here to the side and show you the configuration. Okay guys, now as you see, the back is staked down. Then this is pulled up to an overhanging limb. Now the ground is uneven. This should not be this loose, but this ground is really wonky. Had I set it up on a better piece of ground, this would be a lot tighter. And you're going to pick your piece of ground. When you do, this will be more like that. It will be a triangle back here on the back, and that's your headroom. I'm too low on this side because the ground has actually come up about a foot in elevation and caused all this slack. But even with that, you saw I was able to lay down inside of it full length and be off the wall and be set. There's enough ties all the way around where you can pull it out and stake it directly to the ground. Now for a winter setup, I would stake this out like this, and then I'd rake leaves up all the way around the edge to keep any wind from coming under. The doors, as I pointed out, can be closed and staked in place up here to make an enclosed tent. So this 8-foot by 8-foot tarp becomes an enclosed tent. I've still got tie-outs I could pull out to give myself even more headroom if I needed it. But I really don't. There's enough room, like I showed you. I can actually squat down and walk in and get on my bed and still be enclosed. The first time I saw a configuration like this was a old friend of mine, Al Seward, that we call Squire. And he was doing it in Living History. And we called it the Squire Lodge or the Squire Squat. But it actually was a very good idea. And once you configure it, it's only an 8x8 tarp. I'm 5'10", right at 200 pounds. And I could easily sleep along the back wall back here and be completely enclosed from the elements. Pretty easy, right? Okay guys, now, and this one is a simple pup tent. Now you saw me do that with the poncho, but this is much bigger, an 8x8. Now, as you can see down the wall, in a minute I'm going to show you some footage with my cell phone inside right here. But this is more than big enough for two people really. And the sides can pull out, but here's a little trick to give yourself even more room. Let me show you that. You're going to take a stick and you're going to run that stick through these side loops like this, one on each side. Then you're going to go to the loop on the end, go through it, it's a little tight for that stick. There we go. And this stick is a little bit short, to do this with, but you get the idea. So you're going to hook it. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to pull that out like this on both sides. Tie this out. And you've made a small wall tent. Now you got a vertical wall that you can get up against. It ain't this taper that gets lower and lower. Now it's an almost vertical wall right there. And whenever I do it, it greatly increases the volume inside. Excuse me. Take a poncho or some other tarp and make a door on either end. Just hang it and drape it over. And suddenly you've got an enclosed tent that's more than big enough and comfy enough. Now let me show you the inside of this right quick. Okay guys, now you see this wall over here has been pulled out. See how much space? And that is a standard drop. Now look how long that is. I got my Ranger roll sitting there, but that's 8 feet in. If I simply on that far wall put a tarp or something over and stake it to seal up that back wall, I can walk 3 feet in from this and still have a full-size bed to lay there. So I got plenty of room out here in the front for gear and stuff. Come out here in the center with a Trangia or something stove and cook whatever in inclement weather. Something that's not going to generate a lot of heat that's going to worry about the roof. But you see, that's just one side pulled out. If both sides were pulled out, this becomes a small wall tent, and that gives you a heck of a lot of room. Okay guys, now this is that tarp rolled up. It's a couple of pounds. You know, this isn't something super light, but it's super durable. And for a standalone tent like I showed you, now this was just a taste. As you know, how many tarp configurations are there? The last time I saw or heard, there was a chart that was circulating around that showed all these different ones, and there was 78 different setups. This can be put up high over a line and put out with guidelines to cover a hammock or a common area. This can be turned into a low pup tent with a floor in it. I'm never going to use a tarp or anything I want to be waterproof as a floor. I'll put something else in it. I want that to be protected. And so I don't believe in the folds and stuff that comes out, and that'll maybe in snow country, but not down here in my neck of the woods. The ground's got too many abrasions on it. I want to make this last as long as possible. This is an investment. These are not dirt cheap. Hello, dragonfly. These are a long-term investment in a tent, in a tarp, in a shelter. Now this is, I got it from Bombproof. Give them a little plug. And if you want one of them, go look at their website. But having all the various loops, the ability to set it up in just oodles of configurations. So as I showed, it's a simple, big lean-to where I've got tons of room. I can completely enclose it and make an enclosed tent that's just a couple of stakes and 2 anchor points. I can turn it into a small wall tent by pulling out the sides and putting an additional end on the front end and back end, and put a cot in there and have something I can bend over and walk into. All of it out of an 8x8 tarp with a couple of tie loops on it. I can hook to poles, I can hook to improvised stakes or whatever. Now my little twisty tie gizmo that I talked about, I can make a few of them up where I can quick and easily attach to this to have those handy. It'll go with it. So I'll have a ridge line, and then I'll make up like 6 of them loops. My bushcraft twisty ties I've showed you, where you pull it apart with paracord and stick something in it and it closes up. That way I can just hook to these smaller loops at any time, because say, man, I want to set it up right here and I've got 2 or 3 inch diameter pre-cut poles laying there that I could utilize. I put my twisty ties on here and hook to it, boom, I'm up. Something quick and easy. As a stand-alone shelter, as a big cover over a hammock or something else, you need to invest and get yourself a really good. Now, it ain't got to be this company, it ain't got to be whatever. But my recommendation is the Versatility in one of these. And these are one of my favorite winter camping sets when I'm going to be on the ground. That's usually when I am on the ground, because out here everything moves. But whenever I set this up as a diamond with a big old fire in front of me, I can put a cot down. Now that picture I showed earlier of my tent set up with a cot and a chair and everything up under it, where I'm sitting there in rain and I'm fully sheltered. The back's to the rain. I'm comfortable. That was a 10 by 10. This is an 8 by 8. a little bit smaller, but not that much. And so like you saw, I've got infinite versatility. And with this, I can set it up any way I want. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And do me a favor, hit the like button before you go, please. Till next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.